Today, we are going to go over the Sarah Galvao vs Katie Carr match at WNO 26. The match starts off with Katie putting on pressure and Sarah countering with a beautifully timed single leg. You'll notice that when Katie is advancing, Sarah waits for Katie's right leg to step forward, and that makes it easy for her to scoop up the single leg. From here, Sarah switches her right hand grip for the bicep down to Katie's hip, and that allows Sarah to keep her in place so she can start going towards the back. While they're spinning, Katie tries to perform an uchimata with the overhook, but Sarah has a very solid base, and she's keeping her head very close to Katie's body and making sure that her hips are in a solid position to deny the uchimata. Here's a short clip of early stage uchimata defense.
Okay, so what I want to do if I want to stop the uchimata is as he's taking the 2-3 steps, 1, 2, 3, look, I want to reverse everything, okay? If he's gonna take my hand this direction, turn my shoulders over here, right? And then bring my hips onto his hips, right? I wanna do the reverse of all those things. So if he goes really, really slow, look, I'm gonna pull this arm back, lean my head into this arm, and as he throws his hips, I'm gonna hip check him with my hip here, okay? So that's sort of the basic first line defense.
After the defense, Sarah tries to trip Katie and wrestle her to the ground, which brings Katie's weight forward. Katie naturally wants to move the opposite way, and as she postures back up, Sarah uses that momentum to carry Katie on her hip and then bring her down to the ground from the backside. This is a great example of forcing your opponent to shift their momentum in a way that's very predictable to get the takedown. Sarah lands in a really good position because when they fall down, she already has the double underhooks because of the body lock that she already had, and a bonus is that she's already past the knee shield. From here, Sarah brings her hips up into a tripod position, and she uses this position to get her left leg advancing forward more. Notice when their hips go back onto the mat, Sarah advances her left knee higher up. And the reason she needs that knee there is so she has enough room to be able to get the instep to start prying out her right leg. Katie is very worried about that instep, and you can see that she's using her right arm to try to defend against that. But because her arm is so low, that gives Sarah a clear pathway for a crossface and ending up with a head and arm grip. Now Sarah is in a very strong position to start passing from here, and she has the option to either go for mount or side control. Now normally in this position, a lot of people on top would probably go straight into mount position, but that also depends on what your opponent on bottom is trying to do. And in this particular position, Katie's entire body, including her legs and hips, are facing to the left-hand side. And when Sarah is able to pry her right leg out, notice how Katie grabs her own grips and tries to reverse the position by committing to her left-hand side and trying to sweep from here. But Sarah does a good job of counteracting the weight distribution by going into side control instead. Sarah is in a great position right now because she has a really strong crossface. She's passed into side control, and because Katie's head is facing away from her, that allows Sarah to go knee on belly and start looking for the mount position. Katie is trying to fight for inside position with her right arm, but she does make the mistake of taking it out too far, and her elbow ends up going across her body line. Sarah uses that to her advantage by using her chest to push her tricep, so now Katie's arm is across her own body. This allows Sarah to get the gift wrap position. Once she has that grip, she makes it a priority to get her leg over, and she pulls Katie on top of her to start attacking the back. Katie is able to shrimp into a position where Sarah wasn't able to start attacking the back directly, but because she still has that gift wrap grip, she's still in a good controlling position, and she's able to transition into the back triangle. Katie tries to trap Sarah's legs so she isn't able to get a good triangle position, but Sarah is eventually able to pry her leg out. Katie tries to scramble, but Sarah does a good job of stabilizing the triangle. Now finishing the back triangle is kind of tricky. As the attacker, you have to keep feeling around where the best position is to get the choke, and often that means you need to get a little bit on your side. And you can see in this position that Sarah is very squared up with Katie, so it's not as tight as it could be.
I need my shin in line with Bernardo's neck, okay? If I have like angle like here, there's all this space here, there's no way I'm gonna choke him. But if I have an angle, if I have my knee dropped and my shin in line with the neck, well now when I lock it up, it's gonna be super tight.
Super tight.
Exactly.
Super tight.
It's super tight already.
And because Katie is really tough, Sarah is mostly using this as a controlling position instead of a finishing sequence at this time. While Sarah is trying to adjust, she finds herself that she's leaning a little bit to her own left side right now, and Katie uses that advantage to get into a turtle position. In order to keep the position, Sarah goes for the Kimura grip on Katie's right arm, and she does a move that's very slick here. She lets go of the Kimura grip and brings her right arm behind Katie's left leg, and then she uses her left hand grip to start attacking a triangle Americana. The only way for Katie to avoid the tap from here is to willingly get her back to the mat again, which was a very cool way of Sarah avoiding any sort of scrambles and also keeping a dominant position. When Katie goes back on her back, Sarah was able to snatch up her right leg, and she's attempting to go for a knee bar by using Katie's own head as the fulcrum point, which is not something that you see in everyday grappling. Katie uses her left leg to push Sarah off of her to defend against the knee bar, and Sarah transitions into grabbing Katie's left leg to bring it towards her to try to finish the triangle from the back again. So you can see that Sarah is hugging the leg. She's trying to get up on her hips to find that angle to try to get the choke synced in.
People don't realize this. It's not just about me pressing like into Bernardo's neck. It's also I want to press Bernardo's neck into my shin. So if I just squeeze like this, right, that's just pressing my shin into his neck, or not my shin, my calf rather. But I also need to push his neck into my calf. So again, the way I do that is by shrimping out a little bit and then pressing forward like that, right? So
But it's really, really tight.
yeah, it makes all the difference.
But because Sarah's hips were so high in this attempt to get the choke, that actually gives Katie a chance to round her back, invert, and the ability to pop her head out from the other side. Once Katie escapes, she immediately starts going for an ankle lock, and Sarah does a good job of standing up, keeping good pressure on her left foot so it stays on the mat. You can see that Katie's right leg is in a very good controlling position from here, and that allows her to force Sarah's knee to start facing to the right hand side. Notice how Sarah's on her toes instead of having her foot flat on the ground. This gives Katie an opportunity to scoop under that leg now. And from here, she's trying to force a K-guard position. Sarah's big priority now is making sure that Katie isn't able to wrap her left leg around her hip to complete the K-guard position. So you can see that she's putting a lot of effort to make sure that Katie's left leg is away from her hips, and going as far as bringing her left arm under her leg so she can't complete the position. Katie uses that to her advantage and brings her legs together, inverts, and starts bringing Sarah's body weight on top of her own hips. This forces Sarah to fall forward, and she's unable to post with her left arm because it's trapped from that leg. This could have been a very dangerous position for Sarah, but she does a very smart move from here and brings her right knee over to Katie's left side, and that puts her back into a decent passing position again because both of Katie's legs are flat right now. Because Katie's right leg is in a compromised smashed position from here, she decides to go into a turtle position, and that'll give her more options to defend the guard pass. And in response, Sarah goes for very good upper body control. Notice how her arm is behind Katie's head. That prevents Katie from bringing her head back, creating space, and putting her back in her guard. She also has a very good grip with her left hand by bringing it behind Katie's left shoulder. Both of these grips keep Katie close to Sarah and prevents her from creating space. Now don't forget, Katie still has her right leg in between Sarah's legs right now. So Sarah's job right now is to clear her left leg. So when Sarah lifts her left leg, Katie knows that she's not going to be able to follow it, so she puts her right foot on the outside of Sarah's right leg to prevent her from passing. But Sarah is one step ahead and uses a staple with her left foot to keep that leg in place. And as soon as she's able to clear her legs, because she already has the upper body grips, all she needs to do is put the pressure on, and she's immediately passed into a north-south position. So Sarah brings her left arm by Katie's left hip, so Katie isn't able to turn into her in this position right now. In order to start attacking, Sarah removes that placement with her left arm, but that also gives Katie the clearance to start turning into Sarah. So she uses that to start getting to a turtle position once again, and then Sarah uses that turtle position to start attacking the back from here. To avoid Sarah getting full back control, Katie decides to get on her side instead. And while Katie is trying to put Sarah's leg in between her legs to get into 3/4 position instead of full mount, she leaves her upper body vulnerable and Sarah starts going for a side arm triangle, which is very possible from this position. To avoid getting choked out, Katie is forced to go back on her back, and now Sarah is in a traditional arm triangle position. Even though she does have the arm triangle position right now, she might have expended too much energy trying to go for the finish a moment before, so instead she starts riding high, and her right leg starts clearing Katie's left arm. From here, she lets go of the arm triangle position, she posts her left hand to the mat, and that's going to give her enough clearance to start going for a mounted triangle from here. Katie tries to use the flexibility with her legs, but Sarah brings all of her weight forward, and she's able to lock up the triangle from here. For most people, this would have already been game over, but Katie is super tough. She somehow forces her way through pure grit to get back into a turtle position, and now we find ourselves in the same exact position that we saw earlier in the match. Sarah with a locked up triangle, with Katie on all fours. Now last time we were in this position, Sarah used her right arm to scoop underneath Katie's left leg to help her turn her on her back. However, this time around, Sarah goes 2-on-1 with Katie's right arm, and she's much more focused about finishing the triangle Americana from here, which she's able to get. An absolutely dominant performance from Sarah Galvao, and at only 18 years old, it's very exciting to see her jiu-jitsu evolve in the future. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown, and I'll see you in the next video.